Welcome to another video tutorial. Here we are discussing various data mining techniques using R. Today I will discuss k-means clustering and I will demonstrate k-means clustering using an example, and then I'll go to the working principle of k-means clustering and then finally implement the k-means clustering in R. So let's start with this. So as we know, k-means clustering is a vastly used technique, yet very simple, and it's an unsupervised way of learning. It can be employed and at various areas like biomedical field, your business analysis, mathematical problems, image processing, etc. A situation that I will take here as an to demonstrate is a situation of customer segmentation. Uh, Customer segmentation is a subdivision of market into discrete customer groups that share similar characteristics. Hence, in a partitioning or segmentation or clustering means you are going to partition your whole data set into some subgroups where there will be within group similarities. That means the customer within the same group will be similar to each other, whereas customers in different groups will be dissimilar to each other. The dissimilarity between different clusters will be maximum, and similarity within a same cluster will be maximum. So, uh, going by the same way, customer segmentation is is subdivision of market into discrete customer groups that share similar characteristics. That is, within the group, the similarities will be maximum. Customer segmentation can be a powerful mean to identify unsatisfied customer need. That is, customer needs that are not satisfied by the current market supply. It can be analyzed, and what product can we bring to satisfy the unsatisfied customer like that. And using the above data, companies can then outperform the competition by developing uniquely appealing products and services to those unsatisfied customers. So they can bring their own product to satisfy them. So first of all, they uh, need to know the customer, that the characteristics of the customer and what are the kind of customer in our society we have. So that is why there we need a unsupervised learning technique. It is an unsupervised learning technique. Why? Because supervision means we have data set, and from that data set there are label of the data. That is, I know that these are the type of customer we have. Like, but here in case of clustering or unsupervised technique, we do not know to begin with. We do not know the number of types or number of groups we can form with the whole set of customers. Number one. Number two is that we do not even know what are the levels or what are the type of customer we can expect in the market. We can think about four bases of customer segmentation. It can be geographic, that is, customer is within 10 miles of some uh, market, market number 25, like that. So we bring more, can we open more small markets within the area so that we can bring more customers. It can be demographic, like some university students. It can be like gender, occupation, socio-economic condition, etc. It can be behavioral, that rate of usage. uh, can we bring more offer to bring more customer, or customer wanting a value for money, for or impulse buy, or readiness to purchase, etc. It can be psychographic, like a customer who prefer to buy organic food. It can be related to some lifestyle, attitude, class, personality, etc. So these are the four main bases for segmentation. Age and based on age and income, we can partition or segment the set of customers. Like student, their income is low and age is low as well. Retired person, their income becomes lower, but the age is high. Executive person, their age is in the middle age and income is high. So Now with this unsupervised manner grouping, now these are the three groups we can form. We do not know any kind of level. We just know their income and age. With this, we have these three clusters. Now it is based upon our observation or our experience. We can level them. These levels are not known to us. Now we can level them. That these might be, if the age is high and their income has become lower, obviously they might be aged person and retired person. Like that, if the age and income both are low, they must be student, young students. Whereas if the age, if they are middle age and income is high, they might be in service person, like that. So this is how the labeling has been done. Label is not it is unknown initially. Label is unknown or unlabeled initially. Labeling has been done after the group has been formed. So now after the labeling has been done, we can bring the product for each and every kind of the cluster that we have formed. Different products for different kind of cluster. Like for example, we can bring cheap product for students, but we can bring value for money product for retired person. We can bring some expensive product for executives person, like that. So the advantage of cluster segmentation is that determine appropriate product pricing. We can develop customized marketing campaigns, prioritize new product development efforts. After we have done segmentation or after we have labeled the different segments or clusters, we can do numerous things for the market. Now the challenge, where is the challenge? Is that you have some basic data about your customer, like their ID, age, gender, annual income, their spending scores, etc. And then you want to understand the customer, like who are the target customers, so that the sense can be given to the market. So labeling is a challenge, and then clustering itself is a challenge. What kind of clustering technique you will use?
K-means clustering is a very simple clustering technique that satisfies that challenges that we have discussed. First, I will demonstrate K-means clustering using a pack of cards, and then we'll come back to the algorithm. To demonstrate K-means clustering, what I have done is that I have taken a few cards here from the pack of cards. I have shuffled it. I'll make 3 clusters out of these cards. So I'll take one randomly at a time. So first card, random card out 7, the second random card out is 2, third is 3. So you can see these are the 3 cards, or these are the 3 cluster heads for me now. Now from the rest of the card, I will take one at a time and put that card to the nearest of it centroid. So see, say 5. Difference to 5 with 7 is 2, difference of 5 with 3 is 2 as well, so I can put it anywhere between 3 and 7. Let us put here. Now next card is 10, so now 10 can be there in the cluster of 7, 2 can be there itself in the cluster of 2, 10 again, 8 again, 9 can be there in the cluster of 7, 4 can be in the cluster of 3, 2, 6 it can be in the cluster of 7, 9 can be in the cluster of 7, 7 can be in the cluster of 7. Now I have placed all the cards to the nearest of its centroid. Now next I will find out the average of each cluster. Here the average is 2 itself, so I'll keep 2 here. I have 4, 5 and 3. 4 plus 5, 9 plus 3, 12 by 3 is 4, so average is 4, so I'll keep 4 here. So you can see the cluster head is changed from 3, now it has become 4. Keep the rest of the card here again in the pool. Now for average of this group, you have 7 plus 10 plus 17, 26, 32, 41 and 49. So you have 49 by how many? 3 to 5 to 7. So 7 by 49 is 7. So again the cluster head remains 7. So now from 2, 3 and 7 it has become 2, 4 and 7. I'll take again 10. 10 is in the 7th cluster, 7 is in the 7 itself, so 9 is in the 7 itself, 6 has moved into 7, 9, 8, 5, 3 can be there, and 3 can be in the 4th cluster itself, 5 will definitely go here now, and then it is 2 again, it put 2 here and 2 here again. So now here the average is close to 2, so it will remain 2. Now 4 and 5 you can keep the average at 4.5. there is nothing called 4.5, so I can keep 4 here, and you will find the average of this cluster is 9 plus 8 17 plus 6 23 plus 9 32 plus 7 39 plus 10 49 plus 7 56 by 2 3 4 5 6 7, so it will be close to 8. So now the cluster centroid has been changed to 8. So like that, now the cluster centroid has changed again. Okay, here 4, next thing will go here now, 10 will go in cluster of 8, 7 will go there again, cluster of 8 to 7, so 9 6 9 3 2 2. So now the cluster head will be here, 6 plus 5 11 plus 4 is will be 5. This will be 9 by 4 should be close to 2. This will be 9 plus 9 18 plus 7 25 plus 7 32 plus 10 42 plus 8 50 50 by 3 3 6, so it will be close to 8 again. So you can see now this has settled down to 2 5 and 8, because now last time in the last iteration the cards at the centroid were 2 5 8, here also it is 2 5 8. So we will stop here because the centroid has been settled down, so I can stop here. So my cluster centroid is 2 5, centroids are 2 5 and 8, and I have a settled cluster. So this is how a K-means clustering works. So here is the algorithm of K-means clustering. As we have demonstrated, we have to first specify the number of clusters, that is K. Here in this graphics I have started with 3 clusters. So randomly see to begin with, the red, green and blue are mixed up, and as the iteration is going on they are being clustered, or they are being grouped based upon their color. The color is the attribute here. As in the back of cards example, we have seen the number written on the card were their attribute. So first we initialize the centroid by shuffling the dataset. As I shuffle the card and randomly select K data points, so you can either randomly select or you can select any 3 data point out of the top like that, and then without replacement means that once you pick out a point, once you select a point, you will not go back to put that point on the pool of the points, right? So this is called without replacement. And then the step 3, which is the most vital step here, is that you keep iterating until there is no change in the centroid. So how do you do that? You pick out a point and you measure the difference between the attributes. So the difference between the value of the centroid and your attribute is the value to be considered here. Cluster centroid with the least value has to be the cluster of that data point. This is how you assign the data points to the cluster. After all the data points have been assigned, that you are exhausted with the data point, now you have to pick out average of the cluster. Now you will find new centroid as the average of the cluster. That will be the new cluster head. Now again you have to reassign, and when you have to stop your iterations when your cluster heads are unchanged. See, in the ith iteration you have a cluster centroid like C1 C2 C3 C4 like that, In the I plus 1 iteration, if you find the same cluster centroid, that means the assignment of data points would not change. There you need to stop. So this is how the k-means algorithm works. Now I will show you how to implement k-means algorithm in R.
Here is my k-means implementation in R. So the library that I'll need here is stats. So if you have installed this library, you can straight away use library stats, or you can if you do not have this stats library in your machine, then you can import or install it using install.packages. Now I have installed it, so I will use straight away this library stats, and then I will import the data. So I'll import using file.choose here, and header is equal to true. It is a CSV file, so I have read.csv. So let's import the file. Let's run this to line, and here it is. So I'll import the file. So it's a mall customer dataset. You can see the dataset here. Okay. So the dataset has 5 attributes. First one is the customer ID, as we were discussing in the PowerPoint. Gender is there, age, annual income, and spending score. So these are the 5 attributes. Now from these attributes, gender is an attribute which is given in form of male and female. So either we can change it to 0, 1 like this binary, or we can remove this for now. And customer ID is also unique for each and every customer, so I can ignore these two first attributes, customer ID and gender, and we will make use of age, annual income, and spending score, and try to figure out whether we can find any meaningful cluster from that. So let us first I will remove the first two, but before that, let us take an histogram of age attribute, because I wanted to see if age is properly distributed or not. Here age, we can see age is distributed. Age is not central. Age is not skewed towards anything. Like there are some person with 60 plus ages, there are person with less than 30 ages like that, and there are some middle age person. Number of middle age person obviously is high, so the skewness is not much, so we can have some cluster over age. Also, if you can see the histogram of the income group, if you can see the histogram of customer ID, or sorry, annual income, so can we have any good histogram from this? Well, so it is also kind of a normal distribution is there. So what we can understand from this histogram, that at least we can have some cluster from this. If it was skewed like towards only less than 60 or towards greater than 100 like that, then we cannot have any these attributes cannot be used for any clustering purpose. If the proper distribution is there, then only it can be used for clustering. So these 3 attributes we can use for clustering. I will just remove the first 2 and take only attribute number 3, 4 and 5. Attribute number 3, 4 and 5 means age, annual income, and spending score. Name the new data as DF. So here is my new data, where we have 3 columns of 200 entries. Now I will use k-means. K-means is the method or command for clustering. So this is my data set. It takes the first argument, the data set df. Second argument is the number of clusters. Number of clusters, say I will take 3. If 3 is the number of clusters, it is k, that is just number of centroid. 3 number of centroid will be formed. Now the third argument is n start argument. It is preferred to be greater than 1 in case of R. Default value of n start is equal to 1. Preferred is greater than 1. What does it say? N start is how many iterations the command k-means will iterate before settling down to a randomized value. Like if you have say start with three clusters, then three random numbers has to be taken. So will it take first three number, or it will iterate over how many random iteration will be there before settling to a two three values of your centroid. Number one. Number two, it is also used while picking up score for one random sample or random entry. Like suppose one row or one tuple, I have to select whether this tuple has to go to now cluster number one or cluster number two. Now, if the similarity is high between in cluster number one and cluster number two, then it will randomly choose whether he has to go into cluster number one or cluster number two. How many iterations it will take to decide that. So it is better to keep n star greater than one. Anything greater than one will do. A good number like 25 or 50, a good number is between 25 and 50, but in that case the running time will be high, because in every iteration the number of random iterations will be higher. So now I can run this kmin. So now a km.res is my output. You can view this output by printing this print km.res. So here is my result. So this is k-means clustering is three cluster of size. These are the sizes 39, 38 and 123. So in one cluster, first cluster we have 39 entries. In the second cluster we have 38, and on the other cluster we have 123. So now if you add these three, you will have 200, because we have total 200 observations. Now these are the cluster means. Cluster means mean three cluster we have. Now if you want to relate it with the example of card that I have taken, in the example of card I had taken only one attribute. What was the attribute? Is the number of the card, right? Number of the card was only the single attribute that we had taken, but we could have taken other attribute. We could have considered other attribute of a card, like its color, like its sign, etc. So in that case it would have been three attributes: its color, its number and its sign as well. So when we take three attributes, then we also have to take three means. Here we had considered three attributes. We had age, annual income and spending score as the attributes. Obviously the mean will be of three means. The cluster centroid will be comprised of the three means. That is, in case of age, in case of the first cluster we had these three means. In case of second cluster we have these three means, like that. So these are the three cluster centroid. These are the clustering vector. Clustering vector means all the 200 entries or 200 tuples. For all the 200 tuples we have to see which tuple has gone into which cluster. Like here number 3 means that this tuple number 1 has gone into third cluster. Number 2 means this tuple number 149, 150 has gone into cluster number 2, like that. So this one means tuple number 146 has gone into cluster number 1, like this. Now the next thing is the within cluster sum of square. This is the similarity. Within cluster sum of square means degree of difference or variation within the cluster, and this is between SS by total SS. Total SS means the total similarity, and between SS is the similarity within the cluster. This should be high. It is 53.6%. Now this will vary depending upon the number of cluster you have chosen. This will vary depending upon the number of cluster you have chosen. There are several methods to select the perfect number of cluster. Okay, because the number of cluster we have selected arbitrarily to be 3, there are numerous methods to select the number of cluster. there is a very popular method called the elbow method that chooses the number of cluster, but we will not go in detail of that in this video. So now this is the within cluster similarity, proportion of within cluster similarity to the total variance. The next thing we will do is we will visualize the cluster. For that you need one package to install. Default plotting will not be very good will not produce very good visualization here, because we have three clusters, so a three-dimensional kind of thing has to be visualized in 2 dimensions. So the dimension reduction technique has to be used, and we will not go in detail of that. So we will rather use only one package, and that package will do for that for us. The package that we will need is this package, Fact2Extra package. This package we will use to visualize our clusters. So I have installed this package. If you don't have this package in your machine, then you have to install it for the first time, like install packages Fact2Extra. Then to visualize the cluster, this method has to be used, average_cluster, and it takes 2 arguments. First argument is the cluster output. Cluster output is km.res. This is my first argument, km.res. The second argument is df. Df is the second argument, which is the data itself. So 2 arguments. First argument is the cluster information or the formed clusters. Second argument is the data. Now if you run this line, you can eventually visualize the cluster. These are my 3 clusters that we have formed. There are 3 dimensions in the cluster, and 3 dimension has been reduced into 2 dimension. The xy coordinate will not say you anything, because in xy coordinate we can only visualize two dimension. Here we have 3 clusters, so they are in 3 dimension, and they have been produced or taken ground in 2 dimension. So we cannot by going by the axis, x and y axis, we cannot visualize it. Rather you have to consider this cluster 1, 2 and 3 have been notified by your some other denomination and some sign as well, sign and color as well. So color is fine to visualize. 3 color, red, green and blue, is properly used here, and you can see that the third cluster is largest cluster and the first cluster is the smallest cluster. Now you can name your cluster or label your cluster according to your data sets or according to your necessity. So this is how k-means clustering can be used.
So thanks for watching the video. If you like it, you can subscribe my channel and share it.